I used to think parks were safe places, peaceful spots where families gathered during the day, where children played and laughed. That changed 3 months ago when I decided to take a shortcut through Millfield Park after my evening shift at the diner. It was nearly 10 p.m. and I was exhausted, just wanting to get home as quickly as possible. The park felt different at night. During the day, it was filled with joggers and dog walkers, but now it was completely empty. My footsteps echoed on the asphalt path, and I found myself walking faster than usual. Something about the silence felt wrong, too heavy, like the air itself was holding its breath. That's when I first noticed the bench. There was someone sitting there, completely still, facing away from the path. At first I thought it was just another late-night wanderer like myself, but as I got closer, something felt off. The person hadn't moved at all, not even when my footsteps grew louder. I slowed my pace, trying to get a better look without getting too close. The figure was wearing what looked like a dark jacket, and their hair hung down in limp strands. They were so perfectly still that for a moment, I wondered if it was just some kind of decoration or mannequin that someone had left behind. I decided to keep walking, giving the bench a wide berth by stepping onto the grass. But as I moved around to continue on the path, I realized something that made my blood run cold. From this angle, I could see that the person was facing the exact direction I had been walking. They had been watching me approach the entire time. I quickened my pace, my heart starting to pound. When I glanced back over my shoulder, the figure was still there, still in that same unnaturally rigid position. But now I could see something else that made my skin crawl. Their head had turned slightly, just enough to keep me in their line of sight. I forced myself to keep walking toward the park's exit, but I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being watched. The path led past a small pond, and as I crossed the little bridge, I heard something that made me freeze. Footsteps. Slow, deliberate footsteps coming from behind me, matching my pace exactly. I stopped walking and listened carefully. The footsteps stopped too. When I started moving again, they resumed, maintaining that same measured distance behind me. I turned around quickly, expecting to see the figure from the bench, but the path behind me appeared empty. Yet I could still hear those footsteps in the silence. Panic was setting in now. I broke into a jog, desperate to reach the park's exit, but the footsteps behind me quickened too. They were getting closer, and I could hear something else now. A low, rhythmic sound that I couldn't quite identify. It almost sounded like breathing, but deeper, more labored than normal. I could see the park's exit ahead, but it seemed impossibly far away. My legs felt heavy, like I was running through water, and that breathing sound behind me was getting louder. I risked another glance over my shoulder and saw something that nearly made me stumble. There was a shadow moving between the trees, keeping pace with me. The shadow wasn't human-shaped. It moved wrong, too fluid, like it was flowing rather than walking, and it was definitely getting closer. I abandoned any pretense of calm and started running as fast as I could, my footsteps echoing loudly in the night air. Behind me, that breathing sound had turned into something else entirely. What I heard behind me wasn't breathing anymore. It was laughter. Low, rasping laughter that seemed to come from multiple directions at once. The exit was just ahead now, but those sounds were right behind me, so close I could feel something brushing against the back of my jacket. I burst through the park's exit gate and didn't stop running until I reached the main street. Under the bright streetlights, surrounded by the familiar sounds of traffic and civilization, I finally turned around. The park entrance was empty, silent, as if nothing had happened at all. I stood there for several minutes, catching my breath and trying to convince myself that I had imagined the whole thing. Maybe it was just exhaustion, or stress from work, or my mind playing tricks in the darkness. But then I noticed something that made my heart sink. There were wet footprints on the sidewalk leading away from the park. The footprints weren't mine. They were larger, with an odd shape that didn't look quite human. And they led in the same direction I was walking, toward my neighborhood, toward my home. I never took that shortcut through the park again. But sometimes, on quiet nights, I still hear that laughter in the distance. And I wonder if whatever was in that park is still out there, waiting for the next person foolish enough to walk alone in the dark.